Hello everyone, welcome to a new video on martial politics. Today I'm going to be discussing an issue that is very important to the future of the populist movement. And that is the problem of the sycophantic nature to Trump. And as I'm going to get into, I'm going to get to several examples how this is just so ridiculous and supposed right-wing populists are embarrassing themselves. So of course, as all of you know, there are still many right-wing populists who are overly sycophantic to former President Trump. And this is really just a big issue because we're not going to be able to move forward. We're not. We're chaining ourselves to someone who lost. Like, that's a way to win? It's so stupid. And of course, these people are just so ridiculous. You know the rigged election nonsense. The election wasn't rigged. Come on. It's the same thing that happened in 2016 with all the Hillary Clinton supporters who said like Russia rigged the election or whatever. It's so stupid. And then this time there's like, oh, Sidney Bell is a true American, making these insane claims like there's a global communist. No, it's just so stupid. But again, of course, people always cry rigged election, rigged election. Of course, it has to stop. And this continuing partisan embarrassment is just so silly, and it makes all of us look like fools. And then, what are they even doing all this for? For what? What did Trump do in office that was so great? Trump oversaw one of the most corporate-friendly administrations America has ever seen. He didn't push for economic populism. He completely fell flat on that front. He cut the corporate tax rate. He got rid of the estates tax. He gutted the Consumer Protections Bureau, which helps defrauded regular Americans. Of course, he didn't push for economic populism. Exact opposite, as I just said. This 2017 Republican tax bill that he signed into law incentivized outsourcing. That's not something an actual populist would do. Trump is a fake populist. These people are just so ridiculous. They're so blinded by their blind following of Trump and whatever he does, as if he's a god. Stop. You don't glorify politicians like this and rich businessmen. Like, what? Unbelievable. And there were, like, temporary tax cuts for the middle class, but those were temporary. The corporate tax cuts that he pushed for were permanent. This is ridiculous. And this is really what right-wing populists are fighting for? This is what right-wing populists do in office? No! This is what our establishment Republican president does. Like George W. Bush. Such a joke. Now, of course, why am I making this video? Well, here's the exact tweet which I retweeted. It's a tweet from Real American Politics, who is one of the biggest Trump sycophants on Twitter. He continued to believe, though, somehow, like, the January 6th congressional, like, apparently that could have done something. Pfft, whatever. Of course, he's one of the biggest Trump sycophants I know on Twitter. And he does, of course, have some good takes, but really a bunch of other stuff is just, it's on a other level of terribleness. The big point of discussion being used recently for these people is this particular Times article, as if it, like, reveals voter fraud or some nonsense. It's absolutely ridiculous. Here. Even if the vote was somehow 100% fair, contrary to all the evidence we have, the election was 100% rigged, and the Time admitted this openly today. Let me get this straight. The Time magazine was somehow a part of this grand conspiracy to get Joe Biden elected through illegal means. And then, of course, if you actually read the article, it says nothing about this. If you read it for like 5 seconds, in reality, it's so hard for these people to accept. All it was is just an embarrassing neoliberal puff piece. That's all it was. It didn't say anything about election fraud or whatever nonsense they're claiming. It's unbelievable. And praising like all the real Americans or heroes who helped get elected the swampiest DC creature ever elected president. It's nothing more than this. It's really not that complicated. But of course, it doesn't matter what you put in the way of determined partisans. It doesn't matter. They'll keep promoting nonsense like this. Same thing with the Russian collusion nonsense. And they'll keep promoting the same garbage partisan narrative. There was a rigged election, which is exactly what the die-hard Hillary people did in 2016, as I said. And besides the most common evidence used by the rigged election people, it is the minute-long videos that are taken out of context, sometimes even less than a minute long, and somehow they claim like this is like illegal votes being counted or whatever. But really, all these illegal votes are really just votes for Joe Biden, obviously. And it's really just ridiculous. And of course, I disagree with all these election practices that states did where they were counting mail-in ballots. Like, they started counting on election day. I see that as complete nonsense. Of course, I disagree with that. But no, that's not evidence of a rigged election. That's just like a terrible election practice. That has nothing to do with fraud or whatever. And of course, I wish states would have counted it like Florida did this year. It's just so ridiculous. It's not evidence of fraud. You can't point to this and say it's fraud. It's not. It's just terrible election practices. It's not fraud. Now, the quote retweet that I did was noticed by Real American Politics. This is what I said. He showed that video that I was showing, the tweet I just played before. I said, yes, illegal ballots. If you knew, mail-in ballots were set to arrive during the night in most states. This was known prior to election day, but you just can't accept it. Typo. Like, come on, exactly. Biden's already president. Trump lost. Just accept it. Like, yeah, I hate it. It's terrible. But yeah, I'll accept it. It's not rigged election garbage. But here we go. I just took this picture earlier. Look everyone, a total grifter who fails to understand that mail-in ballots arrived weeks fucking prior. No, they didn't. That's just simply not true. A majority of the mail-in ballots did not arrive weeks prior. What are you even talking about? Ugh, it's just so ridiculous. And it's really, really surprising that when partisans face any sort of criticism of whatever garbage narrative they're pushing, they immediately call the other names. Like, you call me a grifter. I'm like 1,000% sincere by what I'm saying. In fact, that's literally why I'm making this video right now. I don't care what they think. I'm 1,000% sincere. But no, I'm a grifter or something. This is such nonsense. Of course, the most ironic part about this is that he idolizes the biggest grifter of all time, Donald Trump. Donald Trump is not a populist. He used populist rhetoric, but he fell flat on every single front, except for like maybe immigration. His fake populism brought him so far that he was literally elected president of the United States. He's the biggest grifter of all time, the most successful grifter of all time. And I bet this guy sent him tons of money. It's unbelievable. But of course, the irony is not found on these people because they're such partisan hacks. They treat as if like Trump is this sacred god who can't be doubted in any way. And it's just so silly. It's really silly. And then there's the same people saying like God sent Trump to be president. No, I really don't think God had plans for Trump to become president. It's just such nonsense. There are other people in the future who deserve to be president more than Donald Trump. Of course, any sort of populism that Trump campaigned on in 2016 completely gone when he entered office. He had a bunch of Goldman Sachs people under his administration. Complete nonsense. He wasn't fighting the swamp, he was swimming in the swamp. Of course, this is really just silly, and the Trump sycophancy, of course, is just so overwhelming. It's just so ridiculous. And but, you know, I of course received a minor reception from some people, from one person. And there was another comment too that someone sent, but I really just don't care to comment on this nonsense. You can look at it yourself. But of course, yeah, this is such a problem with the right-wing populist movement. We can't do this. We can't just be over-sympathetic to the billionaire president as if he was some sort of god and he saved America or something. No, he didn't. He's a fake populist fraud. Come on. I bet if Bernie Sanders would have won, he would easily beaten Trump. God. But, you know, whatever. Trump just fell short on so many fronts. And then people act as if he's some sort of god. They don't question a single thing he does. You act like as if you're, oh, I'm questioning the ruling class. Trump literally is the ruling class. So unbelievable. They don't question a single thing he does. And any attempt that someone makes, they'll call you names. You call me a grifter. What? I'm 1,000% sincere about what I'm saying. But, you know, it's just whatever. Of course. But yeah, as I conclude this video, I just want people watching to really rethink. If any Trump sycophant is watching this far into the video without blowing the hairs out of their head, I really just want you to question your worship of Trump and just step outside the echo chamber and maybe listen to other arguments, maybe from like the populist left. They're actually useful to listen to, like Kyle Kalinske or Bernie Sanders, whatever. Yeah, and I just really want people to relinquish this worship of Trump as if he's some sort of god. And like these are the same people supporting like, we want Ivanka as the next Florida senator. Shut up. Just stop. And I just want people to embrace actual right-wing populism, not this grifter fraud. Of course, let's step into the future with a new flag bearer and hope to reform the United States, where all people do have equal opportunity and live in an egalitarian society blessed by God. That's really just all I want. I want normal people to live a normal, decent life in the United States. I'm so sick of this partisan nonsense. And that's why I kind of regret making this video, but it's important. That's the thing. This is important to say. We can't just engage in these silly partisan squabbles constantly. We have to look at actual issues. Actual issues, not like election fraud nonsense. The American voter system overall it's not that insecure as many think. Well, obviously I wouldn't want like voter ID laws. But yeah, I just want a secure election because I don't care if it's like kind of secure now. I don't want this, and I don't want potential for there being actual rigged elections, not this nonsense, from happening. Yeah, anyways, hope you enjoyed this video. It was a bit shorter. But yeah, like and subscribe for more. And yeah, have an excellent day.